Hey there guys, welcome to the next tutorial here on the channel. We're going to be making a tutorial on what I showed in a couple time lapses ago. A few weeks ago I showed how to make a duct tape belt pocket, which was kind of something new on the channel. So this is going to be the tutorial on how to make it. We're going to be using black for the main color and a little bit of orange for the highlights. And the belt pocket is something that uses a little bit of Velcro, and it basically goes on your belt. Your belt slips through the back here, and you can slide it around your belt if you need to be in different places. And it holds, credit cards, it can hold ID, and this one can hold a little bit of cash as well. So it's kind of a nifty little thing that you can put on your belt, and it carries a whole bunch of things for you depending on what you want to put into it. So let's get started here on the tutorial and making a duct tape belt pocket. So the first thing you need to determine is how wide and how high you want your belt pocket to be. I decided to make this one about 5 1/4 inches long, so that's how long I cut my strips here. But you can probably make it to 5 inches. You pretty much want to make it smaller than the belt loops are on your belt, because you want these to fit, the belt pocket to kind of fit, in between the belt loops. So what I did is cut out 6 strips of tape that are 5 1/4 inches long. Like I said, I stuck my first 2 together, just like that. And I want to apply these so that they have a total height of about 5 1/2 inches. That's how high I'm going to make my belt pocket. So this is the first duct tape sheet that we're making here. So taking my 4th one, I'm going to stick it right there. And I'm going to take my 5th piece and I'll measure on the bottom here. So we have 2, 4, and 5. And that's going to take me to about 5 1/2 inches, right about there. It doesn't matter if it's perfect, but you guys can get the idea, and you can make it any size you want. My very last piece will seal up the rest of the sticky side right there, and then you can do a little bit of trimming on the sides if it needs it. So for my second step, all I did was take 4 more strips of duct tape and I applied them all together to as wide as I could make it, so that's still attached in the middle. And this is going to be my piece, which is going to lay right here. We're going to connect it on the very bottom here, so it's going to be able to flip out just like that. And that's going to give us a little bit of an inside to work with, and then we have to, of course, put the 2 sides, which will attach with Velcro to that piece. So next step I'm going to do is take a small strip of tape that's about 5 1/4 inches long and attach this to the very back of this over here so it can fold down just like that. Alright, so I've got it connected on the bottom. Now we're going to work on the side. So I have 2 strips of tape that are cut out to the total height, because I flipped it over like this. I'm going to take my first piece, and the sides don't exactly have to be that big. They just have to be big enough to put a little bit of Velcro on, as you can see there, and they kind of wrap around from the back of the belt pocket. So I'm going to take my first strip, I'm going to fold it directly in half, just like that. Make sure you don't leave too much of a sticky edge on there. And then I'm going to use this piece here, and that's going to wrap around the back. So I'm going to stick it right about here. Probably flipping it over will be the best way to do this. Just like that. And then I'm going to fold this to the back. But first I have to make sure that it's lined up. That's always the hardest part when you're working on tape that's really sticky. It likes to move around a lot. So peeling it back, sticking it down. And there we have the part that goes down on the bottom, and of course the side right there. Now I need to do the same thing for this side over here. Now that we have the sides prepared, we're going to work on the internal credit card holders. And these are going to be vertical card holders. You need to go up and down because there really isn't too much room in here. We're going to conserve as much space as possible. So we're going to have yet another small tutorial on making vertical card holders. It seems like I've been doing these a lot in the past couple weeks. But anyway, the first thing we need to do is cut out 3 strips of tape that are just a little bit shorter than the card here, as you can see, with the card facing this way. I'm going to take my first one. And the first step is really simple. They just get stuck down directly on top of each other. Pretty simple there. Next thing we're going to do for our third one is we're going to slice it directly in half, just like that. Doesn't matter if it's exactly perfect in half. We're going to line it up once again. We're going to allow a little bit of tape on the top of the card here. And then we're going to apply this so we have a little bit of room on the bottom as well. So just about 1/4 inch, maybe a little less than 1/4 inch. And then we're going to cover up the rest of the sticky side that's showing. Alright, so right about there, and do a little bit of trimming if I need to, and that's going to go right about there. So now I need to cut out a few more strips and seal it up on the sides, and of course the bottom right inside here, and maybe add a little bit of orange trim, which I'll do a little bit later, and then I'll have as many card holders as I want to. Whenever you're sticking multiples of these in, you always want to start at the top and work your way down. So you apply each one onto the one you've already applied. So you apply this one first, and then you stick that one on, and then if you want to do 3 or 4, you just keep applying them on top. Start at the top and work your way back. So there we go. So that's what it looks like when it's ready to be stuck in. So we choose a place for it, preferably right towards the top, like I said. stick down all the sticky parts, and there we have the vertical card holder. And like I said before, you'd stick all the other ones directly on top of that to work your way all the way down to the bottom. So there we have it, just like that. Next thing we're going to work on is the kind of the money clip portion, which will be actually go facing this way as you flip it open. If it's on your belt, you want it to be facing this way, and we're going to work on that next. Kind of the flip wallet money clip, which I made a few years ago. It's going to go right there. So this part, you kind of need a dollar bill that's folded just like that. We're going to allow a little bit, about an inch or so on each side. So you're going to cut it just like that. Going to remove the excess piece, and then what we're going to do is come in about an inch or so, and we're going to cut that piece off. So we're going to cut a little bit, an inch in, and then we're going to cut directly in half. You want to cut to the middle of the strip, and then kind of come in about that, so you have like kind of a square that comes right out. And do the same exact thing on the other side. It's a little tricky working this way, but you'll see exactly what I'm trying to do in just a second. It'll definitely be a lot clearer. So we do this because this is the band for the money clip. So we take this part and we fold this over just like we were folding a strip in half and sticking it down. So now we have a nice strip there, which will work fine for the money piece. And we have these two pieces which we'll use to attach directly into the belt pocket here. So we'll be attaching that right towards the bottom a little later. So we'll put that aside and we're going to use it in just a few seconds. So the next thing you're going to do is make a small pocket for the back part of the dollar bill to slide into. So to do that, I took two strips of tape that are a little bit wider than the dollar bill that you can see here. So that'll work. And I cut out a small strip that will be used to attach the bottom. So we're going to stick that directly on just like that. Make sure there's enough sticky side to stick it down. And then I have two pieces which will be used to stick down the sides. So it's very similar to a credit card holder, but this will actually be wide enough to have some money tucked into it. So now we take this, we want to line it up so it's directly on the bottom. And this can go on either side, or you can put it directly in the middle. If you're trying to fit as many things into here as possible, you definitely want to conserve some space. So that'll wrap around to the back. And then give this a little bit of a folding action because you want to make sure that doesn't impede the folding at all. So we have a nice pocket right about there. Now we're going to stick this in. So this piece that you used earlier, you're going to apply it about 1/4 of an inch below the pocket that you just had. So you can see there's a little bit of the pocket there, and it'll become a little bit easier to see in just a second when I stick the dollar bill in. So you kind of wrap it around. Remember, you have those two sticky parts on each side, which you left open. And now you take your dollar bills and you tuck the back part of the dollar bill into the pocket, and make sure that's all the way down in there. And then you take the front part, and that gets tucked underneath this band here. And you'll be able to see the dollar bill once it kind of comes on the other side of the band here. And then, of course, that's where it's folded. So you kind of have to fold the money just once, and you can tuck a whole bunch of dollar bills into there. And then when you need one, you just kind of fish it out like that, and you can take the first one that's sitting right on top. So that's how to make the money clip portion of the belt pocket, just like that. So that's as far as I'm going to go for putting everything into the belt pocket, because we have a few things to go. I don't want this tutorial to last, like over 10 minutes or anything. But what we want to do is we want to fold everything together, and now we need to make a flap for the top. So to do that, I took two strips of tape that were the length of the the width of the belt pocket here. Stuck those two together. I took a third strip, and we're going to use that to connect it to the back, and that's going to be stuck on just like that. Then we're going to use that to kind of work with the flap for the top. So now we fold it in like this. Oh, that goes in. Sounds right. That goes in the middle there. That goes down like this. Make sure everything's tucked in. And then I have a small piece, and then a little bit of Velcro is eventually going to go onto that piece. So I'm going to stick that right about there, and that'll seal everything up. Now we need to work on kind of that small piece in the back, is where the belt goes through, and you can attach it to your belt. That's the whole purpose of it really being a belt pocket. So we're going to work on that next. So to work on this part, once again, 3 strips that are the width of the belt pocket. Stuck my first 2 together just like that. Take your third one and kind of slice it right down the middle. It doesn't have to be perfect by any means. Then we're going to take one piece, stick it down towards the bottom, and the other piece directly on top. This will seal the entire piece in, kind of like a giant pocket that runs all the way through. And you can decide where to stick it. I'm probably going to stick it towards the top. That's what I did on the other one, so that it'll kind of hang from the belt a little bit. So you kind of make sure that's sealed on. And there, if you look, you can kind of see that there's the pocket, or the kind of the pocket that runs all the way down through the back of the belt pocket for you to put your belt onto it. So you slide your belt directly through that when it goes onto your pants through your belt loops. So there we have it. So your final step is, of course, to put a little Velcro in it. You'll need about 3 pieces. So when you fold this one in, you put a piece right about there and sticks there. Another piece over here on the side. It'll stick down like that. And then finally, the last piece will be on this little tab I put on, and that will eventually be stuck right about there. So when you fold all that up, that's exactly what it'll look like. This one was a little bit of a different design. I made this one in the time lapse a few weeks ago, and it has those 3 Velcro, just like that, but it's a little bit higher towards the top. Of course, you can modify it any way you want. I was able to, this one with kind of like a different angle, a little bit of a triangle up top. Of course, it's got 2 credit card holders, another one of the money clips on the back. It's totally up to you what you want to put into your belt pocket. Of course, you can put in some ID. You can add a little bit of a billfold inside the middle with a little bit of a different way of holding the credit card holders. It's totally up to you. If you make it a little bit bigger, you'll obviously have more room to work with. With this one, it's kind of small with how much you can put into it, but you can definitely add a little bit of bulk to it so that it can kind of puff up like a pouch and carry a bunch of other things like change and stuff like that. So hope you guys like the tutorial on how to make a belt pocket. It's kind of something cool that I came up with just a few weeks ago, and definitely wanted to film a tutorial for it. So hope you liked the video. I'll catch you next time on the channel for more videos, of course, coming soon. Hope you liked it.